Yes.
Go ahead. All yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Sunil Bhai and Prakash ji, for such a wonderful session. And Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening to everyone. Warm welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Radhe Radhe, Nitin ji, over to you.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Pallavi and thank you, Prakash for a wonderful session, like always. It was a pretty fascinating discussion. I caught a bit of it towards the end. So, brief history of humanity, sages, and procreation, right? So, that was pretty fascinating. I wish we had more time and Manoranjan ji could have carried on. But nevertheless, all good things come to an end. And so did this discussion. So, we'll carry on from where it was left. So, very warm welcome to all of you. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening. Uh, Let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. So we have been talking about Karam Yoga and Karam Sannyas, and we will continue to build on that topic. These shlokas, starting from chapter 5 onwards, it's like Karam Sannyas Yoga. So you'll see this word getting thrown around a lot, and there will be different facets that we'll be discussing from different lens. So to say, like Bhagavad Gita is a sentient knowledge. Every time you come across, there's a new thing that will come across. It's a new revelation that typically gets thrown up. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and we will get underway. The good thing is we don't have a hard stop, so we can take a bit of flexibility in pacing ourselves. A sec. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, right. So we'll get started with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening to all of you once again. So let's get started with our soul soup segment, like we always do. So give me a sec. So as part of Success, Happiness and Fulfillment series, we are talking about that muscle which we introduced yesterday, one of the most important muscles that we need to build. And we also spoke about this willpower, where it is, where is it coming from, right? What part of our body? It's in our brain, like we said, that it's one of the, it's one of the very key organs in our body God has given us, and it makes up for about 1/40th of our human mass, and it consumes a staggering 1/5 of the calories we burn for the day, right? So we burn for energy, and it resides in the prefrontal cortex resides in our brain, and this is where which enables us to exercise our willpower and self-control. And like any muscle, you can strengthen it. You can increase its thickness, and the thicker you make it, the more willpower you have. Okay, it can hold more willpower. Now let's understand what is this willpower. We'll introduce that aspect. So there are three parts to it. Willpower. When we talk about willpower, what is actually willpower? When we talk about it, right? So it touches on three aspects. The first one is I want. So what are the long-term goals that we should keep at the back of our mind and focus our energies on? That aspect is something that you can expend your willpower on. So that is the first aspect. I want. What is my long-term goals? And you're keeping that in mind. You always keep that thing in mind. If your long-term goal is to lose weight, then I want to lose weight and become healthy. That thing would be there at the back of your mind. The second thing is I will. Just want is not enough, right? I will. If there is something that will improve the quality of our life, we need to do it even though it is tedious and painstaking. Okay, so we just commit ourselves to that even though that might not be pleasurable. So the second aspect of it is I will. In the willpower, like you see, I will. And the third aspect of it is I won't. And if we have a habit that undermines our health and happiness, we need to stop doing it, though it may be pleasurable. So this prefrontal cortex, it provides us with all the three powers: I want, I will, and I won't. Now, self-control is about harnessing these three powers that are enabled for humans by the prefrontal cortex. So God has given us that ability. So, the way Brahmaji has designed the knowledge that God has given to create this whole creation and the humans as well, it's a very sophisticated machinery, and all the tools and levers have been provided for us, to us, by God. And willpower being one of these, right? So it's like you create a nice framework and then you become a witness and see how this person goes about truly realizing their potential or not. And willpower and this particular prefrontal cortex that we are endowed with plays a key role in that. And it is called a muscle because if you don't exercise it, then what happens to our muscles? It withers away. You don't have any muscles if you don't exercise it. And the more strength training you do, the more you exercise that muscle, the more strength it gains over time. So any moment that you seek pleasure, short-term pleasure, you are actually diminishing your willpower. And when you work on it, you deny your mind and senses things, keeping the long-term goals in mind, and immediate gratification aside, then you are harnessing that willpower and thickening that prefrontal cortex. Okay, it's basically getting a step closer to befriending your friend. That is how it works. So with that said, let's move on to our Bhagavad Gita shloka. Today I want you to really wear the cap, um, you know thinking about scenarios in your day-to-day life, and see how we can map it and have a good discussion around this concept. Okay, so let's move on and recite our shloka. We'll take a few hands as well, like we always do. ज्ञेय स नित्य संन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न कांक्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते. Let's take a few hands.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Shyamji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Shyamji.
राधे राधे. ज्ञेय स नित्य संन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न कांक्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाभावो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe, Shyamji. Thank you. Let's take the remaining hands too.
Radhe Radhe, Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Sandhya.
राधे राधे. ज्ञेयः स नित्यसन्न्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न काङ्क्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते.
Very nice. Thank you, Sandhya. Let's see who's next. Vinamra 7. That is a
Number 7, Lakshmi ji.
taglines Lakshmi ji is walking around with. Very nice. I see her sister as well. Rupa ji is there as well.
Yeah, Rupa ji and Lakshmi ji.
Yeah. Radhe Radhe, everyone.
Radhe Radhe.
Jnane hasta nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na karshita nirvando hi mahabhago sukam bandhat pramuchyate. Radhe Radhe, thank you.
Radhe Radhe. That was a very nice duet recitation. So thank you, Vinamra 3.5 and 3.5G, both of you. Let's move on. Next time.
6 and
Yeah.
7. 6 and 7.
And wishing you a very happy Tirupati Shivir and journey as well. So please keep sending
Yeah,
us
thank
the
you.
pictures, sharing the
Radhe
pictures.
Radhe everyone.
Radhe Radhe.
Sure, sure.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
Radhe
thank
Radhe.
you, Vinamr 7. Radhe Radhe, Samji, please go ahead.
Radhe Samji.
स नित्य संन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न कांक्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते. Radhe
Thank you,
Radhe.
Samji. Very nice. Radhe Radhe. Okay, let's quickly take the last three hands and then we'll get started.
Yeah, thank you, Samji. I'll go next. Yeh sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate.
Very nice. Thank you, Pallavi ji. Let's take the last two hands.
Yeah, thank you for waiting. Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
ज्ञेय स नित्य संन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न कांक्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last hand.
Priya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Riya
Thank
ji.
you. Radhe Radhe. ज्ञेया स नित्यसंन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न काङ्क्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते.
Very
Radhe
nice. Thank
Radhe.
you, Riya ji. So let's get started. Yona dveshti na kankshati. Okay, that is the punchline in today's discussion that we are going to really dwell upon. So this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying the karma yogis who neither desire nor hate anything, should be considered always renounced. So we will also talk about what is true renunciation. Free from all dualities, they are easily liberated from the bonds of material energy. Easily, it's a very simple thing he's saying. Just rise above dualities and liberation is there for the taking, right? Easier said than done. So the point here is that the key message here is that we have to rise beyond the dualities of desiring, which is hankering, and hating, which is aversion to something. Let's try to look at it through some examples and stuff. So let's do a quick recap. Now, Karam Yog comes with an insurance. We spoke about it yesterday. Insurance policy. What is insurance policy? Something that you buy, don't have to use it, but in this case, it invariably gets triggered more often than not. Okay. So what is that? It's like somebody's falling. Now there are two possibilities. Either they hit a thud, which is not good for the back, right? And then, or you have a safety net. So Karam Yoga is the safety net that God is talking about. So when we operate with Karam Yoga, with that consciousness, we will talk about that a little more today. Then we have a safety net. If you're not able to discharge your spiritual duties, you have a fallback option. You have some recourse, right? And which that recourse, if carried out in proper consciousness, is anyway working on you with regards to purifying your antakaran. Now, do we have to be in a bodily consciousness to realize God as part of Karam Yoga? Now, let's look at it technically. When we work on Karam Yoga, what happens? Our antakaran gets cleansed. Right? The condition for God realization is antakaran getting cleansed. Antakaran getting cleansed means what? You are situated in perfect knowledge. When you're situated in perfect knowledge, then it's like the lake water is still, you can see the bottom. That means you are actually, all the layers around it are taken care of. That means you are situated in the knowledge who you really are. So it is a natural consequence of understanding who you truly are. That means you would be situated in that knowledge, I am divine soul. You don't pay too much importance to your mind, body, and all that stuff. In fact, on the path of devotion, there's a stage where you even lose taste for taste. Okay. It's like food is food for you at that moment. I don't know what that stage would be. All these things seem like very boring, right? What kind of a life would it be if you can't even enjoy an ice cream or a rasgulla? But it's like you just start rising above the senses because you understand, not only understand, it becomes your reality at that point, and you're sustaining that cross aspect element part of it. So Karma Yoga is important so that we are proceeding on this path with a fallback option, with a safety net, and as a recourse. So something is happening always in your life, which is gradually uplifting you as opposed to falling down with the thud. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Yeah, so like regarding the consciousness, while someone is starting to practice Karma Yoga, you're saying they may start with bodily consciousness, but if we talk about Karma Sannyas, they start itself with soul consciousness. Is that
Yeah,
correct to
Karam Sannyas, they are already in the advanced stage of renunciation or already situated in that knowledge. Okay. But in Karam Yoga, you are working towards that stage. Yeah. But you don't necessarily have to reach that Karam Sannyas stage as such. Good technical question. Okay. That is why you can do so many theses and write so many commentaries and bhashya on Bhagavad Gita. It's like very deep. Now let's move on. Pictorially, this is how it happens. Okay. Somebody might be doing this, and you say, "My God, how religious these people are!" But this is what is going on in their head. Okay, the rice is there, the milkman has come, and whether my bahu has cleaned the kitchen or not, and all kind of things might be happening in their head, right? On the other hand, you may have somebody, they're working, but at the same time, you have God in their mind. So this is what Karam Yoga is. Okay, so hopefully picture can stamp this thing more clearly in your heads. Now, Karam Yoga, Karam Sannyas, we looked at some of the differences. Body consciousness, spiritual consciousness. You're already understanding you are a divine soul. You don't pay too much attention to the body stuff and what your mind, the tantrums that your mind is throwing and what your senses are craving for. You start rising above those. Then, worldly and spiritual duties is what you cater to in Karam Yoga. And in this time, you devote your entire time and energy in spirituality. That becomes the only motive of your life, right? You renounce your worldly duties. Fallback option is available. We spoke about it. No fallback option available and can be practiced by majority people. Entry criteria is it's available for all. Right? There's no entry criteria as such. Anybody can perform Karam Yoga. God doesn't say that only if you are this and that, then you can perform Karam Yoga. No entry barriers whatsoever. Karam Sannyas, there is an entry barrier. You have to be in the advanced stage of renunciation or should be situated in that knowledge for you to have an eligibility for Karma Yoga. Okay, this is how it goes. It reminds me a little bit about Bhakti aspect of it. It's no entry barrier whatsoever. Anybody can do Bhakti. Gyan Marg, the ABC of Gyan Marg starts when you are in the advanced stage of renunciation. Then that's when the entry level starts. Otherwise, it's a futile exercise. And in the bodily, consciousness, when we are in the bodily consciousness in 11.2 or 12.2, actually, God has answered this question. Yasesh kalesho adhiktaras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam. You cannot even do that. So forget about it. Perfecting it in through Gyan Yoga, especially in the age of Kali Yuga, when you are so deeply rooted in this consciousness of considering yourself as a body and the labels associated with body as your true identity. Okay, and the things around. Anyways, let's move on. Why did this circle come? Okay, yeah, sim. So you have a sim. This is senses, intellect, and mind. Okay, so you can remind sim. Now the situation for us is what is happening here is material happiness for self. If the answer is yes, you have a decision point here. Or material happiness not for self. When you do for self, you remain world-like. When you do it for the pleasure of God, you become God-like. The choice is always with us. Do you want to become God-like or world-like? So when we start devoting things to us, we actually start acquiring divine qualities and we get closer to becoming like God, which is essentially what God wants. Right? It's like claiming our true inheritance because I want you to be as perfect as I am. However, the situation is grim because the sim is dim. Okay, right now it is dim and we need to enlighten it and make it bright. And that is why we are here and putting in a concerted effort to understand this deeper knowledge and so that we can make this dim thing a little bright and shine, and then it can understand, it can see the things as they are, not as they seem. Right? Maya is one of the things of Maya is it something that is not. So then it enables us to see things objectively rather than subjectively, because it clears out the lenses that we carry because of our experience, opinions, and the vrittis that our mind has acquired and the sanskars that are at play, a function of a lot of things. So let's look at an interesting experiment here. I've spoken about it, but let's bring it here. So here's a rat. Okay, it's an experiment carried out by a gentleman whose name I've forgotten. But what did was you put a rat inside a funnel. Okay, and on one side you put two electrodes were put in, and on one side there was a carrot that was provided to the rat, and on the other side electric shock. Now rat is very intelligent. It figured out where the carrot is, and it figured out where the electric current is. So it would always it started gravitating towards the carrot. But the moment you figured out, now the rat has figured it out, that current, carrot, the electrodes were swapped. Now, where it thought it was supposed to get carrot, it's getting a current. But it didn't take him long to figure out, okay, now the carrot is on the other side. When it figured it out, again it was swapped. Again, rat got confused, and now it took him a while to figure it out. Now the carrot has come back to the same place where I was seeking it earlier. And when it figured out, again it was swapped. So this continued until the trap was completely opened. But the rat is still hung up in this, solving this conundrum in its head. Where am I going to get carrot? How am I going to avoid the current? How am I going to avoid the current? Where am I going to get the carrot? So the doors are open, but the rat has found its purpose in life. Okay, to get the carrot, to figure out where the carrot is, or to stay away from the electric current. Okay, so this is what's happening. This is an interesting experiment, right? You must be thinking, wish this rat had some kind of an intellect or buddhi to do something better, right? Hold on to that thought. Shyamji's already started laughing, I guess. So he's been long enough to know, right, how we go. Now there's another rat. Now this rat is nothing but is the story of our lives. This is very much a story of our life, because we are also na kankshati, na dveshti. When Lord Krishna is saying, we are always oscillating between where am I going to get something which will cater to, give me pleasure, and how do I avoid misery. Okay, the problem is bad. Something that appeals to my mind and senses is good. So that trap is something all of us have fallen to, and it's a classic story of our lives that basically keeps us away from that liberation or realization, God realization, and that is our ultimate aim. It keeps us from that. Right? The trap is gone, and rat is still hung up in that. Now you have another rat. Now this rat, let's see what it does. Today is the theme. The theme itself is rat. By the way, there was a competition amongst the rats. So who reaches the top of the cliff first? So there were a lot of tons of rats. But the problem was, when rat was going up, the other rats were pulling it down. Not literally, but by telling, okay, you are useless, you cannot do anything and all that stuff, come down, how far you're going to travel and stuff like that. So the rats were getting demotivated and coming down or falling down or losing confidence along the way. But one rat, it was like Arjun, right? Lakshya, it just zoomed around directly, zipped its way through right over to the cliff. No distractions whatsoever. So the reporters came and said, you did a phenomenal job. How did you ward off all the distraction and stuff like that, right? And rat did not respond. It blankly looked back at it until, it was discovered that this rat was deaf. It could not hear any noise at all. So from a spiritual standpoint, we all have to turn our ears deaf when it comes to things around us, because those things can pull us down and distract us. Okay. Nevertheless, there's another rat. Now, what is going on with this rat is, here is a rice puff. You know how rats, so here's a rice puff, and then when the rat goes for this rice puff, it gets trapped. But the point is, this rice puff is kept just strategically outside a big godown. But the rat chooses this rice puff and falls prey to it. Only if had overcome the lure of this rice puff along the way would have opened up the doors for that infinite go down that would have served not only this rat but its family and for 7 generations as well, right? But it is not able to resist that lure and falls prey to it. Now, what we can learn from these two stories is that the desire and hate cycle continues to repeat over. I don't want this, I want that. Now, if somebody renounces the world, how is it going to relate to Karam Sannyas? If you are wondering, if you renounce the world thinking, oh my God, there is so much of misery in this world, and God is my only solace, and I need to go to forest and do that, that means you're not running away. It's not true renunciation. You're running away from the pain. You're avoiding the pain. That means when you will face pain there, like a lot of people come to seva and I will do seva, but the speed at which they come, the same speed, double the speed, they vanish away as well. Why? There are challenges in every walk of life. That is how the design of the world is. So when you run away from the pain, you will run away when you see pain there as well. So the real renunciation is when you have this understanding there is neither pleasure nor pain in this world. And when you do renunciation from born out of that understanding, born out of that knowledge, then it is proper renunciation, not that, oh, I have to run away from something. And from the second story is settling for nickels over the gold, right? So we settle for that as well, right? We settle for broken glasses and trinkets while God has something much more precious for us in store, but we are not able to resist the lure and we keep falling for, we keep settling down for something very small in our lives because it's immediately perceptible and visible to us. So that is the key story, key message from these stories, which we can map back to the renunciation part of it and the fact that we have to rise above the dualities. And see, sometimes this thought crops up in our mind when we talk about Karam Yoga, offer the fruit to God. What does it mean? Am I not supposed to enjoy myself? Sure, God is not miserly or conjuice, that after having his fruit, he will simply enjoy it for himself and sit and do nothing about it. Think of, something that you're offering to God. He will also is obligated to do something in return for you. And what he has in store for us is much more valuable, right? So it's like a trap. You think about it, right? Fruits are the fruits that we get out, born out of our actions and things that we do. It's not a trap, but it's kind of a test from God. Okay, you want to enjoy it for yourself, then it becomes a mouse trap, which we keep falling for. But if we reject that, then what God has in store for us is much more priceless and valuable. And it's a matter of realization because that will take you more close to contentment, peace, satisfaction, fulfillment, joy, and inner sense of fulfillment, so to say. And it's a matter of experience. So that is why he's telling me, offer me the fruit, focus on the process, don't have a sense of doership. All these principles, when you truly apply it in life, the proof is in the pudding. You just experience it. And you cannot negate your experience at that point. That experience will tell you it's not a hocus pocus stuff. It is worth pursuing it. So it's good for us. And we all want to be happy, right? Why is rat going after the carrot? Because it it wants happiness. And because it wants happy, does it have a choice not to seek happiness? It doesn't have a choice. We are wired to seek happiness. It is one of the spiritual principles. But the direction in which it was seeking, it would get a much greater happiness if it is liberated, right? And maybe there are a lot of carrots, a big carrot garden waiting for it outside, right? But it is stuck in this trap of avoiding this, finding this, finding pleasure, avoiding pain, all that stuff it gets stuck in. So the true renunciation is when you understand there's neither happiness, you become udasin. Udasin doesn't mean you become sad, you become neutral, equanimous to things around. That is the state of true renunciation. Not that, oh, there's a lot of problem and I have to run away from it. That is not renunciation at all. So born out of a state where you understand the higher principle and you're not avoiding the pain and you take sannyas or go that. And that is something that check can only be done by God and Guru because they have that power to check you and know that have you developed true detachment or is it something superficial more at a intellectual, mental, or at a bodily level. So this is how it goes. So now let's look at it. Did not know anything better. Now let's do a graph. Okay, it's been a while since we have done a graph. So these are the 4 quadrants. Tan Hari mein मन हरि में, तन हरि में, तन जगत में, मन जगत में, मन हरि में. Okay, Maharaj Ji's Bhakti Shatatin, man hari mein and tan jagat mein is the Karam Yog. So for the benefit of people who don't understand Hindi, body in material world, body in service of God, body, mind in God's service, and mind in material world. These are the 4 quadrants. Now let's look at these quadrants and what does each one of it entail. Okay. The second one is Karam Yog. Or should I have made it a quiz? Okay. Okay, which one is Karam Yog? Can anybody tell? I hope you didn't see the screen at all. Okay, never mind. The second one is Karam Yog. Why? Because your body is in material world, tan jagat mein, mind in God's service. We have spoken about this concept. This is Karam Yog. Anybody who would say which one is Karam Sannyas? If you saw the next click, okay, just pretend you forgotten it. Okay, yeah, tell Sandy, which one is that?
Both by mind and body in God's realm.
You get full marks for that. So yes, this is Karam Sannyas. Now, what happens to the third quadrant? Anybody? What's going on here? Third is lost and confused. Okay, they don't know anything better. Okay, and what does it mean? It means that they're trying to enjoy a torn shoe. Can you enjoy any torn shoe? It's very difficult to do that, but they are convinced, intellectually convinced. I would say they're not convinced, but it's like born out of ignorance. When you don't know anything better, what you don't know, right? And that is a bit tragic in human life, but it happens. Like if you think about the other way, maybe that's what they want to enjoy. They want to learn the lessons only after experiencing, so they keep seeking happiness in the world. So their mind is in the world and their body is automatically in the world as well. So that is a lost and confused. The sooner we get out of that state, at least start having a spiritual orientation, the better it is. Otherwise, it's a very what do you call that? Ignorance is not a bliss, to put it simply. And trying to enjoy a torn shoe kind of a thing, right? So there was a guy who was I think Swamiji told that thing, he was sitting in the bus, so the bus stopped, and when he got down, he was limping. He was having a couple of crutches and he was limping. And when the matter was further investigated, his legs were fine. The reason why he was limping was because he had a shoe, a high heel shoe on one of his feet. Okay, the second feet did not have any shoe at all. So on being inquired, what happened? Did you lose your shoe? He said, no, I found one. Okay, so this is our problem as well, okay, in the material world. Now this guy found one shoe and he's wearing it, but he doesn't know that it's actually giving it trouble. If he simply disposes it off, that misery is removed. But we are not able to let go of that lure of something that we are getting in this material world. So we just have to reject it and everything is done. In fact, there's another example on how the monkeys are caught. By the way, monkeys they are in news these days that they have done a lot of wonderful job leading up to the construction of Ram temple. And I think Hanumanji directs them and they do wonderful job. So I'm not going to get into that story. But okay, maybe I should. Okay, maybe later. So I'll get to that. So when monkeys, how they are trapped by madaris, people who encage monkeys and use them to make money. How they do that is they get a glass jar, a bottle, and they put peanuts in it. And when they put peanuts in it, the monkey comes for the layer of the peanut and puts its hands inside. And when it gets the peanut, it makes a fist out of it because it has to hold it, right? Just touching the peanut will not do anything. So when it makes a fist, its hand is stuck in that bottle, glass jar. And when its hand is stuck, it's trapped. It has trapped itself already. All the monkey needs to know is that it has to let go of those peanuts and it's free again. So same thing is with us as well. We are holding on to Maya and we think, okay, Maya is holding on to us. We holding on to it. So this is basically what is the quadrant number 3. Okay, that monkey with his hand inside the jar, you can remember that. And we cannot enjoy a torn shoe. And the fourth one is VIPs, VIPs, double VIPs. which is WIPs, works in progress. Ignorant, not completely there yet, but they are religious, spiritual, at least made it a priority. Most of the people, they are in, trying to do 2 or 4 kind of a deal. So this is how it goes. But they have made it, they have a spiritual spark, or they're either in ritualistic things or trying to, delve into the deeper spiritual secrets and trying to understand it and implement it in their life. So they get into that zone. So it's important to be in, zone number 4, quadrant 4, as opposed to being 3 to 4 is the key journey of starting a spiritual journey. The sooner we get there, the better it is. And then from 4, the next graduation from how do you graduate? When you start practicing 2, and then from 2, you don't need to get to 1, but for some it could become 1. And then your journey basically fructifies. This is how it goes. I see hand. Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, so like 3 and 4, their result is still the same.
The result
And
is same, but
have the same result.
yeah, but this is how it is. It is like somebody has to go from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, right? Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So the one who is on 3 might actually be going from Kashmir to further up north, right? Further up north. Actually, they need to go down south, right? So the direction is still not there, or they might be going a bit south and then back to north and maybe east or maybe west. So they are all over the place. But people who are in that, they are getting a little closer. Somebody may end up at Madhya Pradesh, somewhere near Bhopal in one of their lifetime journey. Somebody might end up in Tamil Nadu, much more closer. So they are actually progressing. Once you start aligning to spiritual principles, then your direction is set. And there is a good probability that you have started making progress. And with Krishna's promise, you are getting closer to your goal. He's going to preserve it for you. So you're getting closer. You're at least your right direction that you have picked up is right. What do you do basically if you're in quadrant 3 and somebody tells you, you know what, you're supposed to go to Kanyakumari, but you're going towards Kanpur or Arunachal? You simply pick up the right direction. You don't have to do anything different. But the result would be same. You are right. But still with a difference, because in that case, that result might be going a little more deeper into the material world. And in this case, the result could be might have done a bit of work for yourself for the future lifetimes. Make sense? Result is same.
Yeah,
Until you become godly.
like but unless mind is engaged, will it really count for the future lifetimes? Like
Unless
what is it that I will preserve?
see, mind and yeah, it will be there. Basically, mind and material world will be there. It's not completely there actually. I don't know how would I present it, because you are increasing the proportion when you are there, right? But in the quadrant, there's a limitation of a 2-dimensional quadrant. So mind is in the world, but you are trying to take it to God, and you're trying to do those practices. So that is why I said, when you're already started putting your body in seva, that means something in your mind has changed. Why would you waste time teaching Bal Mukund, or sweeping the floor in temple, or doing flash dance, right? Any activity that you pick up which has to do something for a seva perspective, and you've started devoting your time and your body, that means you're already your mind is already, you've started giving a piece of your mind there already. But because the limitation of 2-dimensional, I can't show that. It's like your mind is also getting attached there. That is why you have started picking up, you're giving your time to these kind of activities, right? Yeah. But yeah, good question. Yes, Pallavi.
Yeah, Nitinji, just the follow up on this conversation. So as we were talking about the quadrant 4, if body in Tanhari mein, so this is example of like rituals. All the rituals, people are doing rituals, but they are not them attaching mind to the God, or not being able to develop love for God. So in that case, they will anyways will not progress, right? If they have to progress, they have to bring mind, they have to bring that love and love
True.
for God.
Very
Then
true.
only they can move, they can start moving ahead in the quadrant 2.
Very true. You are right. Now let's look at it. See, there are so many nuances to this discussion that a 2-dimensional graph cannot do justice, because it is, we are dealing with a lot of gray here as well. But think of it like, Pallaviji, somebody who's having a complete worldly consciousness, right? Is that person better, or somebody who has started doing the ritualistic activities at least, right? With the understanding there is some divine. or maybe God-fearing. So acknowledging divine is a progress. First step, you acknowledge there is something. Then
Yes.
God-fearing state is also progress. God acknowledging state is a progress. God-fearing state is a progress. And then God-loving state is a progress as well. And then selflessly God-loving. So there are different gradations. So it really depends, right? So somebody could be progressing, but so there'll be shades of gray around each one of these. But yes, you are right. When our mind is involved and we are doing it just with the body, it's like multiplication with zero. But it is still better off than somebody who would not even care about rituals at that point, right? They just think, okay, that they say life is like an ice cream, enjoy it before it melts. Like Ghritam Pitwa, what is that? Pibati, something. There was very like khao piyo, jio, aish karo, karza karke ghee piyo. So that is a philosophy of Bhautikvad, right? Where materialism, where just enjoy life, and even if you have to take a loan, beg, borrow, or steal, and just enjoy life. So that is also a philosophy, but they are not doing themselves a favor because they are further entrenching themselves into the abyss of material world, and they are digging a pit for themselves that they only have to climb over. Whether to do it now, 10 years, 20 years, next lifetime, million lifetimes, the choice, there's no choice actually. You just have to do that. So the better we start aligning to these principles, the more fortunate we keep on becoming, in human life as the time unfolds.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I think this is a good question. It's a very nuanced discussion. I've just tried to
Yeah.
oversimplify it here. But yes, all these are good questions. That means you're
But I
thinking.
think we need to focus on in the quadrant 2.
We need to focus on quadrant. Yes, Karam Yoga. That is why Lord Krishna is saying that, right? He's a master psychologist and he has a master plan. And he's saying Karam Yoga is the way because he knows majority of the people can do that. We all work. We all have social responsibilities. We all do something. And he understands that is the recommended path, and that's why he's very clearly what you call that decisively stating that Karma Yoga is the way to go. It's a superior path. He's saying that. So Karma Yoga is the way to go, and we have to practice this thing. It's a very deep concept, but we have to start gradually practicing it in our day-to-day life whenever the opportunity presents, and utilize technology or any other triggers for yourself to help you on this. Monica ji, you have a question. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Manika ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. So Nitin ji, a lot of karma kandis, they do karma as in the havan and all these rituals in full awareness also for materialistic benefits, right? So many people, they ask for something, then they take I mean, I don't know what you call niyam in English, but then they for a certain period of time, and then they do achieve material benefits, what they actually do it for. Because I was sort of in this path once upon a time, but then it also led me here because when it was like out of material, I mean, let's say emotional support or whatever, I knew where to go. I went back to my God, and that's how I was led to maybe Gyan Marg, and then Gyan Marg led me in Bhakti Marg. So good starting point, like you said. But then people do it in full awareness also, that let's say for let's say if I do 21 Fridays fast for this deity, and would want something in return, and they do get it, but it's like the kamkan. That's what they get limited stuff.
True. So ritualistic stuff, that is the problem with rituals. First of all, some of the most sophisticated yajnas and all, they're not possible in Kali Yuga, right? The desh, kal, patra, niyam, dravya, a lot of factors have to be perfect. Renunciation, pronunciation. Renunciation is the topic today, right? Even the dravya, the vessel, the money that is being poured into that yagya, a lot of things have to fall in place. So it is difficult. That is how, Vedas have also designed it, that these are difficult to do that in Kali Yuga. And secondly, there's a possibility if you do it based on some kind of an expectation from that activity or ritual, you may even become Nastik. There's a good chance because when things are working out, it worked out because of your prarabdha or otherwise, maybe you did it a perfect yagya, in Kali Yuga. You get results, you say, God is there. But when you don't get it, then you will get upset with God. So there's a good chance when you make it conditional, you can become right. So there are so many niyams. Like you said, niyam is actually rule. Right? So niyam
Yeah.
means there are vidhi and nishedh. Our scriptures say vidhi means do's, nishedh means don'ts. So with a lot of karam kand, there are a lot of vidhis and nishedhs in our outlined in our scriptures. But in the path of devotion, there is only one vidhi, one do, and one nishedh, one don't. What is the do? Do anything that takes your mind to God. Do more of it. And one don't do anything that takes your mind away from God. Very simplified process, right? So we can pick up the easier path around that. So if you get into karam kand, it's fine, but those rosary words, even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, those people get attracted towards it, which are, which have a dim intellect. That's what he has said actually. Who
Right.
want fruit and stuff like that. But it's a start, right? We are all on a journey. Not everybody gets an exposure to the higher, deeper knowledge. And but it's a start. At least you are reposing your faith in divinity. And that will lead you to the next step and then the next step. So everybody's perfectly situated where they need to. But it's much better than people not even doing anything. They're just enjoying
Right.
life, drinking their way to glory and stuff like that. That is not good, right? And they don't know because of sheer ignorance. So yes, there are different levels, and within these quadrants also there will be different gradations and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fairly complex in that sense. Good question. Thank you. Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, go ahead, Sandhya ji.
Yeah, so a related question. So if you compare a Falgu Vairagya person from a person who is totally into material consciousness, like bodily as well as mentally, which one would be considered better?
Which, if I compare a Falgu Viragya with what? If somebody is
Someone in the third quadrant.
in the third
Third
quadrant.
quadrant.
Yes. Okay. Now you're giving such permutations and combinations, right? Now, our
No,
Arunji
so
are
actually related thing. I feel like Falgu Vairagya will also kind of come in the fourth quadrant, right?
yeah, Falgu Viragya is something you renounce things prematurely and using spirituality as a pretext, to run away from duties and all that stuff. I don't know, it's very difficult. Which one it's like choosing between bad and worse. I don't know which one would be more worse in particular
Yeah,
situation, right?
yeah,
Very
bad
difficult.
and worse.
So
Yeah.
actually, just to bring like the Falgu Vairagya person body is in the God service, at least as per the sake, but mind is not.
Yeah, so that is
And
why, yeah, that I don't know which category they will fall into, okay, somewhere. And lost and confused people, if I'm saying lost and confused, if they don't believe in God, but they are doing some philanthropic deeds and helping people out, right? They might be better off than somebody who's renounced it prematurely. So there are different combinations possible there. I would call them as lost and confused as well, because they haven't yet acknowledged divinity. They are just in their own holding on to their unworthiness with their own concepts and fundas in life, right? Without really acknowledging the divinity and bringing God into the mix, even though they are noble things, they are well directed, but they are still not perfectly directed as yet. So that will also fall in this category, because sometimes sattva will dominate, sometimes rajas will dominate, sometimes tamas will dominate, right? Uh, but somebody who is doing Falgu Vairagya, maybe for a certain period of time, they might be doing it to the best of their abilities and they might actually be able to do it, but the seeds are still there. That detachment has not truly developed. So that is not a yukta. So there's a Falgu Vairagya and there's a Yukta Vairagya. We'll bring it in subsequent sessions and why it is called Falgu Vairagya as well. But yes, the true renunciation is something which where the seeds, that there's neither happiness nor uh, pleasure in this world, you have that understanding, and then you proceed towards your goal. Not about
Yeah,
there's a lot of misery and stuff like that. Yeah, good
yeah.
question.
It's funny that Arunji has put in chat that all these questions are going to be under true and false to create a Kahoot
I
controversies.
can I can already imagine Arunji's mind in overdrive mode on how to create some conceptual questions. But yeah, it throws a lot of potential to create some really testing questions, conceptual questions to all the participants. So please pay close attention, because these are concepts you would come across, and it's only because of Maharajji and Swamiji we are able to talk through these with so much of details, and really be able to think through it, because they are not easy concepts. Okay, go and ask even the scholars, they'll get confused in these concepts. But Maharajji, being Maharajji, and with his grace, we are able to relish this knowledge and dissect it to the bare bones as best as we possibly can. And That's a big thing. So Arun, hope you're listening and you're going to create a very interesting quiz out of it. Yes, Komalji.
Radhe
Multi-select.
Radhe, Komalji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Nitinji, so just a quick question. I've seen a lot of people, they come to Gurdwara or Mandir just to have a food, okay? They don't even go in front of God and do any kind of puja or any prayers. So which category they fall into? But they are still coming, right? To these holy places, the spiritual places. Intentions are different, but they are still coming there. So yeah, I'm just curious to know which category they fall into.
It's difficult to say that because there might be an intention around it. I mean, food is a good thing. That's how my journey started, right? Prasad got me hooked. And it is said when you keep on eating prasad, that is why people do that bhog, right? So it's
Yeah,
like offer it to God and partake that food as his remnant. Jaisa an vaisa man. It purifies you.
yeah,
So if they're coming in with a consciousness that okay, chalo, I mean, I'm going to get my spiritual quota or religious quota for the week because I'm going there and food is a bonus, they will get credit out of that as well. Food will do its trick. Prasad will do its trick.
yeah.
It's
So
like
so they are still in work in progress, right? Category like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But if somebody's coming purely with a Nastic attitude and it's just about let me just have food, we don't know, right? Our mind is
Yeah,
very complex in that sense. But if somebody's consistently coming, something would have clicked right somewhere. Some word would have fallen into it. So there could be WIPs at a starting WIPs kind of a wheel. It's very difficult to say that. And that's very over that, like I said, I've oversimplified this graph, but a lot of
yeah.
relation around it.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
lost and confused would be who don't want to acknowledge God. It's like, who is God? My God died young, or God is the opiate of the masses, like Marxist would say. And then they say, what is that? I'm willing to believe in God if I can verify him in lab. Those kind of statements when people make, right, trivialize this matter or don't want to believe in God, then those are the people who fall in this category. And it could be a great scholar or a scientist as well, by the way. It doesn't have to be an illiterate. So yeah,
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Very fascinating discussion. And meanwhile, I just remind everyone to fill in the feedback tracker whenever you get chance. I
Yes, please
posted
do.
the link in the chat.
Please do. I see Pratusha. Welcome, Pratusha. I think you're back in India, right? So good to see you. See your hand.
Yeah. Radhe
Please.
Radhe,
Yeah,
Prateek ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone, Radhe Radhe sir. So
Radhe.
my question is that can we truly remove the Gyan mark from the Karma Yoga? Because, and also why is uh, Karma Sannyas known as Gyan mark?
No, nothing Gyan Marg, nothing. Gyan Marg is more about contemplating, acquiring knowledge and contemplating on it. So Gyan is needed. See, Gyan and devotion, they are like, we see when the fields are plowed in India, have you seen somebody with those two bullocks? They are they're carrying that, they plow the fields before the tractors. So they are like those two bullocks. One is Gyan, one is devotion. Both are needed on this path. Why? Because the real knowledge leads to devotion. And as you gain more devotion, it will lead to more illumination of knowledge from within. So both are needed on this path. But finally, Gyan has a Purnima and then Gyan is no longer needed after a while. So Gyan is needed regardless. It has nothing to do that um, the Karam Sannyas is exclusively Gyan Margi or Karam Yog, part of it is Gyan, nothing of that sort. It is something that is Gyan is anyway needed. But maybe I'm not getting the context of your question. If you can elaborate a little further.
I was just saying that without being truly selfless, one person cannot reach the Karma Sanya state anyways. So, because no knowledge will go in him without being, a little bit selfless, and of that practical aspect should be there.
Yes.
So my question was, if
Hmm.
we, I'm not sure whether Karma Sannyas and Karma Yoga can be devoid of Gyanma. So we are already in Gyanma, right?
Yeah. So
And then when the exclusivity comes in Karma Sannyas, that can also not happen without Karma Yoga. Or can it?
There will be an overlap of Karam Yoga even in Karam Sannyas part of it. See, we do Karam Sannyas as well. It is called Karam
Mm.
Sannyas Sadhana. When we close the door and have our one-on-one with God, that is called Karam Sannyas Sadhana. So Karam Yoga and Karam Sannyas also overlap, but Gyan Marg, I'm still not able to relate. Gyan is there. You need knowledge along the path, right? We are reading Bhagavad Gita.
Mm.
It is, but Gyan Marg, when you talk about it, it is exclusively about gaining knowledge and contemplating upon it. Okay, it does not bring about the element of devotion or God as a separate. It's like
It will not happen prematurely, right, sir?
what will not happen prematurely?
The karma sannyas.
Yeah, Karam
It has
Sannyas.
to go through karma yoga.
Yes, this is a good question, basically. So now, if somebody is a Karam Sannyasi, have have they already gone through Karam Yoga? Or see, it's like it's an interesting question. I don't want to confuse more. So if somebody is doing Karam Yoga, right, in one of the lifetimes, if they have learnt a lot of lessons, their path might be forked towards Karam Sannyas. Not that they have to, and only God and Guru decide. Maybe, I don't know. So if they have learnt lessons that they had to learn from Karam Yoga, and maybe the remaining part of their journey is meant to be in Karam Sannyas, which is what God and Guru think is more appropriate, then they will go towards that. But that doesn't mean that everybody from Karam Yoga has to go to first Karam Sannyas and then get into that. But yes, if they have aced, or if they have developed enough renunciation from the world, that means they would have done Karam Yoga at some point in time of life, right? But that's not a prerequisite as such. You can directly go from Karam Yoga to God realization. You don't have to go through via Karam Sannyas as such. Make sense?
Thank
Were
you,
you there
sir.
in yesterday's session? We talked about it a little bit.
No, I was not. I have to yet hear that.
Yeah. So it's not like you have to do Karam Yoga, then purify your senses, and then go to Karam Sannyas and then God realization. You can actually go Karam Yoga, purified senses, directly God realization. But a Karam Sannyasi, it would be a good question. I can clarify from Swamiji. Does it mean Karam Sannyasi at some point in time also did Karam Yoga and reached a certain level or a threshold where God thought, having this path would probably accelerate this person's journey, and then the Guru also ordered that person? That would be a good question to ask. I can clarify it. Good conceptual question.
Because, sir, because if suppose in my lifetime, this lifetime, I'm a karma yogi, and then I can again come back because I want to work for God and become a karma yogi again.
True. And that's how through Karam Yogi itself you can realize God. You don't have to become a Karam Sannyasi.
Mm.
Karam
Thank you,
Sannyasi
sir.
is basically that path is chosen for very few under the expert guidance of Guru. Okay, why under the expert guidance of Guru? Because our buddhi is imperfect and we don't have siddhis to know our own, trajectory, how far we have developed detachment and stuff like that. Only a realized saint can check it for you and tell it to you. Okay, so that is why Karam Sannyas is recommended only under the expert guidance of a guru and not a call that you can take yourself. Otherwise, you may end up doing Falgu Viragya, where your mind is not yet there. You prematurely renounce it, you're not ready yet, and then it could lead to a downfall.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Okay. Yes, Sandhya had a question. Maybe take a last question.
So in order to develop dispassion or detachment, does one really need to do karma yoga?
Dispassion or detachment, you need to do Karam Yoga.
Like I'm actually following you it up on the previous question only.
How else would you be able to test yourself on that? Tell me that.
Testing, anyway, we can't do that. Only Guru can tell whether we have that much of
Actually,
detachment or not.
what's the point? Basically, are you saying can we do
Like
silent?
I'm saying with respect to Karma Sannyas, before Karma Sannyas, is Karma Yoga necessary or not? So the prerequisite for Karma Sannyas is.
I would, if you ask me, my understanding says possibly you would have done that, but that's a question I would ask Swamiji. It's because it's a technical question. Now,
Because
unless
if
we
you
have done
perfected Karma Yoga,
unless-
you don't need to go for Karma Sannyas.
that's what I'm saying. So there's no cause and effect here. But
Hmm.
right, if you have done perfected Karam Yoga, you can directly realize God. But what I said, if you have reached a certain stage of Karam Yoga and God and Guru find it appropriate, or think that the remaining part of your journey could be completed in Karam Sannyas, Then they decide or they pick you up, right? I don't know what is the algorithm that dictates that. It is possible that you are in the advanced stage of Karam Yoga, but God chooses now as a Karam Sannyasi, you would probably do a better job or accelerate your journey to finish the remaining 10% or 5% or 3%, whatever is remaining. Or he may choose that, no, you come as a Karam Yogi again, you don't have to go through Karma. I don't know what dictates that. Right? But at some point in time, they would have performed activities, right, with some kind of and would have developed this passion.
Mhm.
So, and Karam Yoga basically gives you test to test your this passion and detachment
Mhm.
in your real life. That is where most of the people get hung up, right? Like, think of it. We form so many attachments and so many hooks to so many things in life. Why do we love kids? We love kids because they're innocent. They are dependent on us, completely dependent on us. They are ashrit on you. Why do we love pets more? No, we love both basically, but kids after a while they start giving you answers back and then they get into teenage, right? So they start giving you teenage challenges. So your love will also start diminishing a little bit and then it keeps on fluctuating. But with pets, think about it. They don't retort, they're still dependent on you. They are completely ashrit on you. Even if you scold them, they will wag their tail around you. So they are completely dependent on you. And hence you feel a strong bond and attachment towards them. Just think about God. If you become like a pet to God, completely dependent on what he is capable of doing for you. When we fall in love, we feel such a strong attachment to even a pet who's dependent on you or a kid who's dependent on you. When you become dependent like that on God, which is essentially what Karam Yoga is telling us to do, everything for the pleasure of God, right? Not anything for yourself. And you can't even imagine what kind of you know love and grace he can shower on us basically, or the affection or the warmth that we can feel from his association. But it is a good question, technical question. Swamiji can answer that. My understanding, not understanding, but my gut would say that you would probably in Karam Sannyas, if you are in Karam Sannyas in one of the lives, Guru has said, yes, go for it. Maybe you have done Karam Yoga in the past and learned a lot of advanced lessons around it as well. Right? So possibly, but if it's not the case, then that could be true as well. So Swamiji can answer that. Yes, Monica ji.
Please
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Monica ji. Yeah.
Radhe, Radhe, sorry. One more question, maybe a little off the topic, but then it is related to Karma Yoga. Or...
Sorry for
So,
Radhe or for the question.
Question. So, Nitiji, is there a possibility that the souls that we are around now have been there in the past also? A set of souls traveling together to your next.
I think this question has come before as well. If you go with Many Lives, Many Master, it talks about it, the group soul concept, and your karmic debt with each other in the past lives and stuff like that. There could
Especially
be.
Satsangi.
There could be a possibility. God only can pick that stuff, right? Anything that is conducive for your journey and stuff like that. It's a complex algorithm, so may or may not be possible. But Many Lives, Many Masters speaks about that. I think somebody asked this to Swamiji, and he also said the same thing, that it is quite possible, right? If you have karmic debts, either way, positive or negative, and those kind of things can be done. But it's a fairly complex algorithm to say with certainty that happens.
Because a lot of times your family members and relatives are more of a prarabdha for you, right? But then others, like somebody like you, who's like changed my life and so many lives, right? And obviously through Swamiji, I know that you're gonna say that only. But I mean, so it could be that satsangis around me might have been somebody to me, and then trying to walk each other home.
Walk each other home. Yeah, it makes for such a nice story, right? Possible. Only God and God and Guru would know. We can ask Swamiji again. How does it work basically? But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty complex algorithm, and yet then you think about how many lifetimes we have spent, right? So there is a good possibility we rotate around, in one of the lifetimes, and the paths cross again, and then again, So God only knows, what would be the most conducive environment for a particular soul, and he's always willing to help out on that, right? So really, depending upon the kind of priorities, choices we have made in our life, he puts us alongside a set of individuals, even the people who are around us, the kind of challenges they pose to us, that is a custom-made, hand-picked course for us by God, based on the kind of lessons we need to learn. So on the other side, if you look at from a satsang standpoint, of course, he will place people strategically around as well, right? Depending upon how well we are receptive to that, so that it can support our journey. So God is all there to help us. Learn your lessons, progress quickly. He's all in for that. So based on that, quite possible. And but yeah, it would be a good question to ask Swamiji again. But many lives, many masters definitely talks about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, any other questions?
Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay, so I think we will continue. We have a lot of more things. I had this slide as well, Karam Yoga or not. So maybe for not tomorrow is a quiz. We'll continue because this whole series is around this only. Now Falgu Viragya would come, a lot of things will come. So we'll keep reiterating and keep peeling some more layers around this concept. There's the beauty of this knowledge. You would never feel that you have discussed it enough. It is so deep and profound. So we'll continue to do that. With that said, please fill out the feedback tracker and we can move on to our next segment, devotional segment today. Any announcements that you want to make? Let's first do that.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and make announcements. I posted the links in chat as well. So first announcement is definitely about the Shivir, the Sadhana Tirupati Bhakti Yog Sadhana Shivir, which is starting from 26th January, which is Friday, and it will be going until 29th January. I have posted the link to register, and it is something which is like spiritually elevating and devotionally enchanting sadhana severely. Great opportunity. The second announcement is about not to be missed. It's still there's chance to participate in the Sanskriti program, which is for kids from January 26 to 28. That is going to be in Radha Krishna Temple, Dallas. So I have posted the link for registration. Please, local people who are in Dallas and people around there, their kids can participate in Sanskriti program. And one more announcement is about the Prem Yoga teacher training, which is going to be available online from March 22nd to April 30. And by with God's Guru's blessings, it is 45% off, and it is pretty affordable. So whoever is interested in becoming yoga teacher, definitely please take a look at it. And I have posted the link for registration. And one more announcement is about the newly launched globally Get Closer to God 21-day challenge. So today is the 5th day of the challenge, and definitely it is something worth doing. There has been so many other challenges before as well, but this is something amazing which is going on, not to be missed. Please do register and avail the opportunity, and also share the link to download the Radha Krishna Bhakti app. So please do take advantage of all the events which are happening. Thank you. Riyaji, I see your hand raised. Do you have a question? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Pallaviji, for devotionally enchanting announcements. Yes, Riyaji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, this is for the devotion segment, Nitinji.
Okay, all right, please go ahead. You take the pole position today.
Yeah.
It is difficult today, okay? I'm warning you, but you will pull it off, I'm very sure. So please go ahead. The meter has to be aligned. Go ahead, please. No pressure.
Then I'll go second.
No pressure whatsoever. I'm just kidding. It's easy. Go ahead.
सुमिरन कर ले मना. I totally forgot. Please, I'll go second, Nitinji.
Yes, and
I'm so sorry.
See, I said you will get the meter is a little tricky, but you forgot Sumiran Karle Mana itself. Oh, but that's fun. And that's fine. But Sandhya,
Okay, Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
Nitin ji, you just scared her. No reason.
no reason. Go
Okay.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead. It's easy.
सुमिरन करले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना सुमिरन करले मना छिन राधा रमना मैं कातन माया का बना जग भी है माया का मना मैं तो दिव्य नित्य है मना तन पंचभूत का बना सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना. Done.
Very nice, Sandhya. Thank you very much. Now go ahead, Riyaji. You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sandhya Di. सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना मैं का तन माया का बना जग भी है माया का बना मैं तो दिव्य नित्य है मना तन पंचभूत का बना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Riyaji,
much, Riyaji.
beautifully.
It's such a beautiful bhajan. I hope you are enjoying this series, and we'll keep picking
Yes,
up
very much.
Maharajji's
Radhe
bhajan.
Radhe.
Yeah, bhajans one after another. But this is a wonderful addition. I think maybe one of the days we can recite all the previous lines as well. But it's very nice. Thank you. All right, so Shyamji, please go ahead. Shyamji has started reciting as well, okay, which is the most wonderful thing that has happened ever since we started this one. Please go ahead, Shyam.
Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe. सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना मैं का तन माया का बना जग भी है माया का मना मैं तो दिव्य नित्य है मना तन पंचभूत का बना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना. Radhe Radhe.
Shyamji, very nice. Are you enjoying recitation of this?
So much. I love to do it daily. बस कहे तो रोज ही करता हूँ ये.
Maybe one of these days you can get Naina ji as well. You can do the duet together.
Sure, I'll try. Thank you so much.
Last time she gave darshan on our session was when she mixed up our genders in our past life, okay? But it's a pretty interesting comment that she made.
She heard you and she's here now.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Actually, this is like a time when I have to be in the look at my hand. I'm like cooking for breakfast and for lunch. Otherwise, I was saying, these kind of sessions should happen during the weekend so that, one can sit and enjoy. So I was just like, 2 minutes back, I was telling.
चलिए weekend पे भी होगा अभी we will prepare a task force who will execute it over the weekends as well, so हो सकता है अभी near future
नहीं
में.
फिर आपको वीकडेज में बंद करना पड़ेगा ना, नहीं तो फिर मैं शाम को गुस्सा करूंगी, आपको भी घर पे डांट पड़ेगी और लोगों को भी
You have no choice but to share Shyamji with us in these sessions, okay? वैसे ही रहे.
नहीं, of course, I mean, I don't tell him now कि क्या कर रहे हो and all that. बस इतना होता है कि 9:30 के बाद पूछ लेती हूँ, बस क्लास खत्म नहीं हुई अभी तुम्हारी. Otherwise, ठीक
Let
है.
me finish it because I'm sure a lot of other people will be having similar trouble right now. But always a pleasure to hear you, Naina ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Swati ji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe. Thank you very much. Yes, Swati ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, मैं का तन माया का बना, जग भी है माया का मना, मैं तो दिव्य नित है मना, तन पंचभूत का बना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना. Thank you. These lines are so beautiful. Full Sumiran song.
These lines are so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Radhe Radhe.
This whole bhajan is like pretty amazing. Okay, please go ahead, Pallavi ji. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. I see a lot of cameras, so let me tag a few people to sing. Abha ji, you have to start singing. It's about time you come and prepare and render your voice in one of these segments. Cash is also there. Cash, you need to start singing as well. It's about time you pick up any of those lines. And Shamji has done. Samji has already done that. Minuji sings as well. So everybody who's on the camera, you have been tagged. So figure out when. It would be good if all of us can do that. Yes, go ahead,
Radhe Radhe.
sister duo.
I can take first, or I can
Oh, sorry.
first.
Did I
Yes.
say Pallavi ji? Sorry.
Yeah.
Pallavi.
I can take first. Yeah.
Yes, Pallavi ji. Go ahead. Sorry.
सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, मैं का तन माया का बना, जग भी है माया का मना, मैं तो दिव्य नित्य है मना, तन पंचभूत का बना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, सुमिरन कर ले मना.
Very nice, Pallavi ji. Loved it. Thank you very much. Yes, sister duo.
Yeah, please go ahead, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Sumiran कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, मैं का तन माया का बना, जग भी है माया का मना, मैं तो दिव्य नित्य है मना, तन पंचभूत का बना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना.
Beautiful.
Radhe Radhe. Sorry if the voice is not clear.
No, that was fine. Thank you very much for that. Body is made of Maya and world is also made of Maya. Soul is divine and eternal. Body is made of 5 material elements.
Yes.
Yeah, मैं कौन मेरा कौन. So that actually is essentially repeating that clear message that when we are divine and eternal, then we should be seeking something which is divine and eternal, not something which is anitya or temporary. Yes, Minuji.
Yes, Radhe Radhe. Minuji, please go ahead.
Belated
Radhe
happy
Radhe.
anniversary, Minuji.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe. सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, मैं का तन माया का बना, जग भी है माया का मना, मैं तो दिव्य नित्य है मना, तन पंचभूत का बना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना. Thank you.
Thank you, Meenu Very nice. Radhe Radhe. Yes, Sandhya, you want to sing again?
I actually wanted to share something very important about this bhajan. Two things. One, that this is one of the latest ones written by Maharaj Ji. So it was written around 2011 or 12. And secondly, so it was actually pretty close to his heart. I think I remember hearing about it from Swamiji in one of the lecture series in which he has done, what do you say, Pad Vyakhya of this bhajan. There is this shivir in which Swamiji has done the Pad Vyakhya of this bhajan, and it is extremely beautiful. So I am actually looking forward to finding that lecture series. If I do, I think we will all relish it like anything. So
Please.
yeah, I just wanted to mention these two specific.
Thank you for picking up this bhajan to tee off this segment, right? We picked this first one from Maharaj Ji, and it has been coming out beautifully. We'll do more of these. We'll continue this series. It's a very nice way. Do we have time? I can sing, or we are good?
Yes, we have time. Please go ahead.
I'll not take more than 2 minutes. सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, मैं का तन माया का बना, जग भी है माया का बना, मैं तो दिव्य नित्य है मना, तन पंचभूत का बना, सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना. Great. It's a good way to end this session. So thank you everybody again. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow is our quiz day. So please do come prepared. Arun is ready and I hope you are ready as well. Please don't forget to go through the summaries that are being sent every day, and we'll have another fascinating session and talk about a few more things along the way. So thank you again, and Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side.
Thank you, Nitinji, for another exciting, enlightening session. And thank you, all of you, for your wonderful participation. Stay blessed. See you all tomorrow.
And good to see you back, Pallavi ji. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.